Good evening, Tallahassee. I'm student meteorologist Sloan Haynes.
I'm student meteorologist Colby Pope, and hey, we had some interesting weather today. We've been kind of on a roller coaster today. It was clear earlier, and then about 2 or 3 o'clock, we had a storm move through.
Yeah, but we finally cooled down, which is really nice because it's been hot over the weekend. Pretty much it's been hot for a long time. Can't remember the past time it's been below like 85 degrees here.
Oh my goodness, we've been dealing with the low 90s for so long, so to be in the 70s around 3 o'clock, boy, that was really nice.
That was a treat.
Very comfortable
for Floridians.
conditions. Yeah.
But expect those rain chances to continue this week, as we do have an increase in rain tomorrow, but it's going to slowly decrease as we go into the weekend. So, maybe we'll see that weekend that we saw this past weekend where it's a bit clearer, a bit cooler with those lighter winds and stuff.
Yeah, we're kind of in this pattern right now. It's really just hit or miss, So we have the afternoon showers and storms, and some people get affected in the viewing area, some don't. So it's really a hit or miss, and hey, it's a nice trade-off though from those temperatures.
Yeah.
There, so.
I mean, as I said earlier to Brantley, it is not fall outside in Tallahassee, but soon we will get there.
Soon.
Later on the show, we're going to be watching the tropics. We do have a few disturbances out in the Atlantic right now that might impact the U.S. at some point in the upcoming week. And then also those hot and humid conditions are expected to continue for our region and most of the southeast as well.
Yeah, we actually do have a frontal boundary that's making its progress across the United States, but not expected that to really affect our area. But for more of what's going to be on the show and what is affecting our area, let's take out to Brantley there at the wall.
Thanks, guys. We're looking at partly cloudy skies outside right now. We could see a few rain showers popping up in the area as we head into the evening, but they will be short-lived and then die off after the sun sets. But right now, partly cloudy. Here's a view from Doak Campbell Stadium as well. We see a few rays of sun there trying to peek through the clouds. A lot of rain activity to the west of our area in the Panhandle. We're seeing some thunderstorms and showers all the way from Apalachicola over to Pensacola this afternoon, gradually moving farther inland off the Gulf. So some onshore flow helping those storms move farther inland. And that's pretty much the story for the entire northern Gulf Coast, all the way over to Texas. A lot of rainfall near the coastal areas. And we're going to see that rainfall come into our area over the next couple of days as well, with higher rain chances coming up. Tonight, mostly cloudy skies. 73 degrees is our low, with wind nice and calm, so we're not going to have any rain tonight, just mostly cloudy skies. And then rain chances go up tomorrow. So Wednesday, a 60% chance of rain with a high of 91 degrees. So that's still very hot and humid outside. The heat index is still going to be high until we get those rain showers to help cool things off. Thursday, rain chances also at about 50%. So some rain for the next couple of days there. So rain chances are on the increase right now. We're going to keep our above average temperatures for the next several days though, so it's not quite feeling like fall yet. And later on in this show, we're going to be talking about the tropics. We're still watching those as we are seeing some more activity in the tropics. Now we're going to take a look at the local weather here in Tallahassee with Sloan.
Yeah, again, we did have a really nice day outside for most of the day until this afternoon, where we did see these clouds roll through with that storm, as Colby was saying, at about 2 or 3 o'clock today. It's clearing up mostly for Tallahassee. And again, here are those storms moving north from the Gulf. And again, Tallahassee, you can see that they just did move through, and there's lightning associated with the storm that's going up through Cypress and Dothan. And then currently it is 81. Luckily for us, we have cooled down. It's a real treat. As I said earlier, it's 81 degrees, no longer above 90, and it's partly cloudy, as I was saying. Temperatures for the region are a bit cooler than what we've been seeing. Thomasville, Bainbridge in the higher 70s along with Quincy, Tallahassee lower 80s with Apalachicola. And if we look at Perry and Valdosta, we see they're a bit hotter just because they haven't received that rainfall yet. And then our dew points are higher where the rain has reached, and especially at the coast in Perry and Apalachicola, and Tallahassee at 75 as well. A bit drier in southern Georgia though. And then if we look at what it feels like outside, we're going to see it feels close to our true temperatures for most of the region, except right here you can see Valdosta and Perry very hot at 95 and 100, and Apalachicola at 96. Again, we see these wind speeds that were driving those storms north and bringing that moisture on store for us to have these showers. And then again, if you're going to be out on the boat or the beach tomorrow, expect it to be a bit cooler than what we've been seeing down there. 88 degrees for the air temperature. 82 degrees for the water, partly cloudy skies. UV index is still high. It is Florida. It's still technically summer for us here, so make sure you are wearing that sunscreen. And then expect the water to have a light chop at it, and this is at Apalachicola Beach. Waking up tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., 75, Partly cloudy conditions, expect some cloud cover in the area. Noon immediately heating up to 87. And then about 3 p.m. tomorrow, expect those typical afternoon showers to return with a high of 91. And then tonight, mostly cloudy, low of 73. Again, that cloud cover causing us to be a bit cooler than what we've been seeing. And then going into tonight, these storms do clear out early. And then again, tomorrow morning, we see that cloud cover return, a few passing clouds. And then expect a coastal shower in the morning maybe, and then partly cloudy in the morning, and thunderstorms return in the afternoon. And especially about 6 o'clock tomorrow, we'll have a few pop-up showers here and there, and the storm should move out by then. Going into your 7-day, you do see these rain chances decreasing throughout the week. Temperatures, though, unfortunately sticking to that 90-degree mark for the whole week, although our lows will be in the mid to lower 70s for the week, which is a bit nicer to cool down at night. So expect us to be cooler after those storms pass through, and hopefully this weekend it'll be a bit drier, cooler, sunny, so you can enjoy your weekend. I'm going to pass it off to Michael now for Florida.
Yeah, thanks, Salone. Basically, Florida has a similar story in terms of the weather pattern in Florida. And yeah, so Florida looking pretty much the same. But let's start off with our time lapse down towards Key West. You can see the clouds bubbling up in the afternoon with the daytime heating. Now, since we're losing that daytime heating, mainly clear skies across Key West. So very nice conditions down there. Temperatures across the state of Florida, you have 81 degrees locally here in Tallahassee. And then down towards the peninsula, 88 in Tampa, 88 in Orlando. A little bit warmer down there because they didn't receive much rainfall in the afternoon. The dew points, you saw the temperatures vary across the panhandle, but the dew points are very similar across the entire state, in the middle 70s for a lot of locations in Florida. There's a lot of moisture in the air, and we haven't had any cold fronts move through Florida yet, so it's going to take a decent cold front to lower down these dew points. Heat indexes in the state of Florida, 87 in Tallahassee. That's because of the thunderstorm earlier today. Hotter down towards the peninsula with 97 in Gainesville, 98 in Tampa, but then cooler at Fort Myers with the rain that came through earlier at 85 degrees. Now the winds, we do have these easterly winds with high pressure again in the Atlantic, the Bermuda high, and then also some southerly winds up towards the panhandle. That's why they've had more thunderstorm activity today, because of those southerly winds. But there's also a frontal boundary in the southeast that's enhancing the rain in the panhandle. Down towards South Florida, though, it's mainly the typical sea breeze showers and thunderstorms. And you can see right along I-75 between Fort Myers and Tampa, some pretty intense thunderstorms with a lot of lightning associated with it. So be careful if you're riding along I-75 this evening down there. Now out towards the panhandle, it's mainly these showers and thunderstorms that are moving up into Alabama, some lingering rain north of Panama City, but it did cool down the temperatures a good bit in the panhandle. Now the drought, we don't have to worry about that given all the showers and thunderstorms we experienced today. And going into the nighttime hours, the showers and thunderstorms do dissipate. We start with mostly sunny skies in the morning, and then the heat and humidity allow those showers and thunderstorms to build in the afternoon, especially along the I-4 and I-75 corridors in Orlando, Tampa, and Fort Myers. For tonight's forecast across Florida, 73 in Gainesville, 76 in Tampa, 80 down towards Miami, so feeling very warm down there. But it's going to be very muggy wherever you are in Florida tonight. And then tomorrow, down towards South Florida, 90 in Homestead, 90 in Miami. And then going into the Panhandle, you can see 85 in Crestview, 85 in Destin. A little bit cooler because the rain chances are higher tomorrow. Now let's send it back to the desk.
Thank you, Michael. So we're here tracking Super Typhoon Trami out in the Pacific, going towards Taiwan, China, and southern Japanese islands.
Yeah. Right now we have a pretty active hurricane season on the Atlantic side, but the Pacific is even more active over there. And a typhoon is basically just a hurricane that has crossed the international date line.
Exactly. And then a super typhoon is the equivalent to a Category 4 or 5 hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson scale. So again, expect those heavy winds, strong gusts, a lot of rain and storms associated with it. And then also catastrophic damage will occur, which is actually the definition that follows the Saffir-Simpson scale.
Yeah. Right now, Super Typhoon Trami has 155 mile/hour winds, so that makes it a Category 5 typhoon. Actually, it is a super typhoon, and it's going to impact Taiwan around the September 28th or 29th time frame, and then move on to some of the Japanese islands.
Yeah, and then it'll expect it to hit eastern China a bit more, western China actually, sorry, a bit more early next week, starting about Monday. But this is an important event for Asia because, as we know, Asia was just hit by Super Typhoon Mangkhut, which really impacted the Philippines and southern China with a lot of flooding, heavy rain, and something they're not used to over there, since I was actually looking at the Chinese meteorological website, and they track earthquakes more than they track their typhoons. So it was sort of different for them to see such a heavy season for them as well.
Yeah, it's definitely unusual activity for them, and just like you said, they had that typhoon just a few weeks ago, and according to National Geographic, that has killed at least 66 people in that area. So they have already seen a lot of landslides, massive flooding, and a lot of high winds and water along the coast there in the recent weeks. And they're going to see a lot of that same type of action again in the coming days. And again, the main threat in this storm is not the 155 mile/hour winds, it's the flooding. The major flooding is expected, torrential rainfall, very high storm surge. So coastal areas are going to be inundated with water in the next couple of days, maybe lasting into the next couple of weeks.
Water is the biggest threat for any hurricane or just typhoon out there, since a lot of people don't expect it to impact them in the way that it does. But then again, for that region, for China, Japan, and Taiwan, to look out for warnings issued by your government agency, as they will be coming out in the next few days. And we're going to pass it back to Colby in the studio.
Well, looking nationally, really the story right now is our first major frontal boundary that we've experienced here during fall. You see that prop there from Chicago back down to the south and west across the nation's midsection, allowing a lot of very cool relief. 64 degrees in Denver, 63 there in Kansas City. Just ahead of the front though, 82 in Chicago. Dew point values, much drier air out to the west. And then a lot of onshore flow bringing in a lot of moisture, very strong pronounced moisture tongue coming up into the Ohio River Valley, all the way into the Great Lakes region there. To see dew point values in the 50s and 60s is very significant, especially that far north. Upper level water vapor, about 30,000 feet. You really see the pronounced a lot of moisture there coming into the Chicago area and into Lake Michigan. Right along this subtropical jet, you can see extending from the Four Corners region back into the middle portions of the country, but it's really around Chicago where we see that strong presence of all that shower and thunderstorm activity. And surprise, surprise, right there, Wisconsin down into Illinois is right where we're seeing the shower and thunderstorm activity draped along that frontal boundary, and severe thunderstorm warnings there around Chicago, and very pronounced. It goes right back down into Illinois, right along that frontal boundary. The pink is severe thunderstorm watches. You can see that as we zoom in a little bit closer. So very treacherous commuters are going up I-55 into Chicagoland. Severe thunderstorm warnings now right on the outer fringes. This can be your western suburbs of Chicago, and this will continue to make its progress off to the east. Not forgetting about the Northeast, though. They've dealing with a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity, but it's really just the broad showers from Boston up into the Northeast, into Maine and portions of New Hampshire and Vermont there. It has prompted, though, some actual flood watches, though, on the back side of that into the Ohio River Valley from Kentucky back into southern Ohio and even into portions of West Virginia there. So that's definitely becoming an issue on the backside of that frontal boundary. Closer to Tallahassee, though, we had some onshore flow that brought some showers and thunderstorms into portions of southeastern Alabama and southwestern portions of Georgia, but those have remained off to our north and west right now. And then with that frontal boundary, you can start to see a little bit more shower and thunderstorm activity start to peek its way into our neck of the woods. For your storm outlook for tomorrow, the Storm Prediction Center has put a slight risk into the northeast as that frontal boundary I was talking about going through Chicago starts to make its progression off to the east. We'll have to watch that, but really what I want to show you is this contrast in the temperatures. We're having that frontal boundary in very cool to downright cold conditions into portions of Canada and even into Montana. 46 tonight for the low in Billings. That is downright cold. 47 in Denver. And then out in front of that front, we're not going to be dealing with that anytime soon in our neck of the woods. We're staying in the mid-70s for Tallahassee, 70 there in Atlanta, and then for tomorrow, look at those high temperatures, 68 in KC, 61 in Minneapolis. Very strong gradient there across the nation's midsection that is associated with that frontal boundary. But hey, let's bring things a little bit closer to home. I'm going to hand things off now to Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Cole. We're going to start off with our FSU Panama City camera. And this was a very active camera today. You saw a lot of the thunderstorm activity out in the Panhandle today. Look at all these clouds building up with the daytime heating, a very intense thunderstorm moving through Panama City, and now it's mainly cloudy and much cooler in Panama City. Now here in Tallahassee, you see some clouds on the edge of that big complex of thunderstorms in the Panhandle, and we did get some showers earlier today. That's why we're at 81 degrees right now, and a west-northwest wind at 5 miles per hour. As I said, look at the Panhandle, how much cooler it is because of all those thunderstorms and showers they experienced earlier this afternoon. 79 in Quincy, 77 in Bainbridge. Tallahassee's the middle spot at 81, but then when you go in the eastern portion of our viewing area, 90 in Valdosta, 91 in Perry, that's because they've mainly had sunny skies and not much thunderstorm activity out there. Now the dew points, you saw the big temperature differences across our region. The dew points is not at all like that because we have a lot of moisture across the Tallahassee region, with 75 in Tallahassee, 73 in Valdosta, and a little bit lower, 73 in Thomasville, and a little bit lower in Valdosta with 70. Now the heat indexes, they are lower on the western part of the viewing region with 78 in Bainbridge and 82 in Quincy. That's due to the rain and thunderstorms. But then on the eastern part of our viewing area, it's hotter because you haven't gotten the rain yet. 100 in Perry and 95 in Valdosta. Satellite and radar shows what we've experienced today in Tallahassee with the showers and thunderstorms staying off towards the Panhandle. They've been able to cool down and not be in the 90s for a long time, but the same cannot be said for places like Perry and Valdosta. You see mainly sunny skies for the entire afternoon, so it's been heating up over there. Now the winds, we do have this southerly winds, and it's ahead of a frontal boundary in the northern part of the southeast, and that's basically enhanced the moisture in the viewing area. Now tonight's forecast, 73 in Tallahassee, 71 in Monticello, very muggy conditions, and a little bit cooler tomorrow. We might not get to 90 degrees, and that will be the start of being a little bit cooler, 88 in Tallahassee and 89 in Quincy. Now we do love golf here at FSU Weather, but we also love our dogs. Shout out to Louie, 73 in the morning if you want to walk the dog out. And it's better to walk them out in the morning rather than the afternoon because it will heat up very quickly, and you'll also have to dodge those showers and thunderstorms. Now, as we go into the overnight hours, those showers and thunderstorms do dissipate, and then they will result in, we'll get some showers and thunderstorms developing in the afternoon with the daytime heating. But let's fast forward to our 7-day forecast. You see how the rain chances gradually drop as we head into the weekend, as we do get some drier air moving into our region, but the temperatures stay at around 90 degrees. Now let's send it off to Salone with the southeast.
Yeah, you're going to see here that we do have that cloud cover coming back in with those storms that we saw about 5 o'clock there, and then clearing up right after. But taking a look west of Alabama, you're going to see a bit more sunny skies in sight. We do see some cloud cover in Shreveport and some rain in New Orleans with those lower temperatures, 78. But if we look east a bit, we're going to see that temperatures are in the 80s for most of the region, with clear skies in Florida right now, some clouds in sight, and Atlanta receiving some rain as well. And then dew points, we're going to see it's typical for Florida in the 70s. It feels like a sauna. That's just how it feels when you step outside in Florida. Atlanta a bit drier at 68. And then if we look west again, you're going to see some lower dew points than what we've seen, especially in Dallas at 65. But now if we look at what it feels like outside, it's going to feel very hot in Corpus Christi at 102. Hot for most of the Texas and Louisiana region, but the moment we go east a bit, we see it goes down to 81 in New Orleans, then 87 in Tallahassee, and then sticking hot in the rest of Florida as well. And if we look at the radar, we're going to see the storms that are going through Louisiana right now. It's heading north. And then back in Tallahassee, we have those storms that we saw pass through our area earlier today, and there's still some cloud cover in the area. But with both of these systems, you can see there is lightning associated with them. And then going into Texas, again, you see that it's dry, but looking down at Louisiana, we still see those storms moving up from the Gulf towards the north. And then same thing for the rest of Florida as well. We see we have some coastal showers forming with lightning from the Atlantic that are moving into the Gulf, which is typical again for central and southern Florida. Here we see that moisture coming onshore for most of the southeast, which is causing these storms, and then the moisture coming in from the Atlantic in Florida as well. And then forecasting in tonight, it does clear up for most of the region, as you see right here, but we do have some storms forming overnight into tomorrow across Texas, going east a bit and then slowly moving to the northeast as well. So not a lot of dry conditions tomorrow, a lot of rains and storms in the southeast, especially as we see here in Jackson and Montgomery. Tonight's forecast expects not a lot of clear skies in sight, but temperatures do stick to the 70s for most of the region, especially if we look east a bit. We see that we're in the mid to higher 70s, with Miami and Key West being a bit hotter in the 80s. And then if we look at tomorrow, we're going to see that Florida sticking to the 90s with a few thunderstorms in sight, especially for central Florida and Tallahassee. And then the moment we start looking at Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, we see that there are a lot of storms in sight as well. And now I'm going to pass it off to Brantley for the tropics.
Thank you so much, Sloan. Speaking of unsettled weather, we have some unsettled conditions in the tropics right now. We saw a break in the tropical activity a few days ago, but now the tropics are heating back up. We are watching 3 areas of disturbance right now. We have one here about to enter the Caribbean. We also have another one near the Carolinas, a very big concern there for North and South Carolina. And we also have the remnants of Leslie, which is now a post-tropical cyclone. So Leslie is now a low-pressure system that it's opened up. It's not expected to form into anything major in the next few days here. The National Hurricane Center has issued its last advisory on this storm, so it's just going to meander around in the Atlantic for the next several days and eventually dissipate into just a broad area of showers and thunderstorms. Now, the remnants of Kirk, this was Tropical Storm Kirk just a few days ago. It dissipated. It's no longer a named storm, but we are watching it because it could regenerate back into a tropical storm, and if it does, it will keep the name Kirk. It will be a tropical depression or Tropical Storm Kirk once again as it moves towards the Caribbean islands there, heading towards the Windward and Leeward Islands. We could see that regenerate, but it's still not a big threat for us right now. They don't expect it to develop very much in the long term. Now, close to the Carolinas, we are watching an area of disturbance that has a 50% chance of development. This is a big deal for the Carolinas because this could bring even more flooding to the area. Now, Florence made landfall about 10 days ago, and the flooding still hasn't reached its highest levels yet. A lot of the rivers there are still in major flood stage, record flood stages for some of them, and they're going to keep getting higher over the next several days. So any additional rainfall is not going to help that area right now. They have seen way too much water, and this is going to bring more of it there. And in addition to that, rip currents and high surf along the coast, which will also increase the amount of erosion that they've had along the coastal areas there. So the Carolinas are watching this one very closely. It only has a 50% chance of development, but regardless, it's going to bring those conditions to the coastal areas there. So we do have Leslie marked off the list now. We have another name off the list. Kirk is we're still watching it because it could regenerate back into another tropical storm or tropical depression. But if this storm next to the Carolinas does form into something, it will be called Michael as we go into the rest of hurricane season here. We do have another peak of hurricane season here in the as we enter the first week or so of October. So we'll keep an eye on the tropics for the next several days.
Well, bringing things back in a little bit closer to home here locally, there's the time lapse looking out over Doak Campbell Stadium. You can see throughout the day, look at the frequency of the showers and storms. They increase, the clouds increase, and you can even see the rain there on that camera. And now the sun's starting to try to peek out, and as we're ending our Tuesday, 81 degrees, very comfortable conditions out there, and that's thankful for that rain cooled air. Usually we're about 90 degrees right now, so to be at only 81 is a nice treat there, a trade-off for that rain-cooled air. Places off to the west, you can see the yellows. That's 70s, temperatures in the 70s, low 80s, and then 81 as we start to progress back to the east and we get those darker colors. Places that haven't got in on the shower and thunderstorm activity, Valdosta is sitting at a very warm 90, and then 89 down in Perry. A lot of onshore flow bringing those dew point values well into the 70s. That's very typical for this time of the year. 79 down on the coast at Apalachicola is definitely the high spot there. Typical, they're right there on the coast. And when we couple that actual temperature with that dew point temperature, we get what it really feels like outside. So Heat index of 87 here in Tallahassee, so a lot closer to the real field temperature than we're used to. Usually we're up into the 90s, so that is a treat from that rain cool there. They've rebounded nicely there at Apalachicola. You see that heat index of 96 there, so they had that rain move through earlier, and now definitely you have to take those rest cycles and be careful if you're down there on the coast. Very dangerous there with those heat index values. But where we've got in on the showers and storms, you can see they started to make their way to the north into Alabama and then have dissipated since. They went north of Dothan, started to fall apart there as we've started to get away from that daytime heating. And the wind speed and the direction, those are the steering mechanisms of those storms. You can see right out of the south there, pushing those storms off to the north there, brisk winds off the coast. For your marine forecast tomorrow, 88 degrees. You will have to dodge a shower thunderstorm, especially as we get into the afternoon hours. So around 1 to 2 o'clock is when we'll really see the frequency. Those showers and storms start to increase, so plan accordingly there. Definitely have that umbrella handy, and when thunder roars, definitely go indoors. Definitely don't want to be caught out in that. And then start that over. I want to run that time lapse for you one more time, because as we go into what's going on overnight, we have the clearing. Notice that those clouds are not dissipate for the most part, and then as we go into your early on your Wednesday, we start to see some clouds start to funnel in out of the south, and then those showers and storms, it's almost like a repeat. We're almost on just a repeat cycle here for Tallahassee. Showers and storms increase in frequency with the daytime heating. For tonight, 73, very comfortable. If you have something to do, definitely get it done tonight, because 73, very comfortable, and chance of showers definitely are down. Now for tomorrow though, 88 degrees, we'll have to dodge those showers and storms there, and for your day planner, warming up very nicely into the mid 80s by noon, and then dodging that shower thunderstorm. That temperature will really depend on if we do have those showers and storms in the vicinity. If they're there, we'll be in the 80s. If not, we might be 90, 92. But that 70 forecast looking really nice. Showers and thunderstorms throughout the picture, but those temperatures are very warm though. Those are usually a little bit lower chances than what we're used to when we have that strong onshore flow, but definitely it'll be hit and miss. And I'm going to actually throw it back to the desk. And what do you guys think about that 7-day planner? How's it look?
Yeah, thanks, Colby. It's been a very warm September, not only here in Tallahassee, but across a lot of the southeast, Brantley.
Yeah, the southeast has been seeing the heat stick around for a long time. So even though fall officially started according to our calendars a few days ago, you know, the southeast really hasn't gotten the memo that the hot temperature is continuing, and they are above average. A lot of people have been wondering, is this normal for this time of the year? And the answer is no. They're actually running anywhere from 3 to 5, 6 degrees above average for this time of the year in the highs, and the lows are about 7 or 8 degrees above average. So
only
a lot
one
warmer.
day this month has been below 90, and if based on that 7-day, we're going to continue to be in the 90s possibly. The only thing that would prevent us is a shower or thunderstorm.
Exactly. So hopefully if we get some of that shower thunderstorm activity earlier on in the day, we won't see temperatures get as high. So that maybe if we have some more rain activity earlier on, we'll see temperatures stay cooler. They might stay in the 80s.
Yeah, so don't forget to follow us on Twitter to track any of these showers and thunderstorms at twitter.com/FSUweather.
And you can also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/FSUweather.
We stream every night at 6 o'clock, every weeknight on YouTube. Just search FSU Weather.
And we also have an Instagram at FSU Weather. So at FSU Weather on every social media platform. Send us your pictures. We'll feature them there and here on our show.
Yeah, so we're going to continue with the typical summer pattern here in Tallahassee, and it's going to stay above average in the near term.
Yeah.
But for all of us here at FSU Weather, I'm student meteorologist Mike Lonan.
I'm student meteorologist Brantley Kite. Good night.